people out there, holla at us. Homemade custard, holla at us.
Yeah.
We need you to try that, dog. It's really good.
I can get on board that. Michael Peterson coming in studio.
Yes,
we're going to be talking green cemeteries, eco-friendly way to bury your loved ones. So we'll be talking a little bit of that. The news that has gone all the way to Kash Patel and President Trump, all the way across America, this poker gambling NBA FBI scandal. This is a big deal.
This is a huge deal. I woke up this morning, one of the group chats that I'm in texted a screenshot of this tweet, and I'm like, that can't be.
Yeah.
My instant reaction was, one of my friends got duped.
Yeah.
That can't be real. Chauncey Billups just coached the Portland Trailblazers last night. There's no way he's getting arrested, but that happens to be the case. So we got a bunch of the news, a little clips of the press conference from earlier today as well, but we're going to be breaking it all down, making it simple for folks because there's a lot going on between it's multiple investigations all wrapped into one involving sports gambling in the NBA. Should be interesting.
It's crazy. Ian Leonard, chief meteorologist, will be coming in studio. Underneath it all, it's a clothing store for women suffering from breast cancer. And like I said, some Vikings Chargers talk at the end. Let's get into some quick headlines here. Annunciation shooting survivor Sophia Forchas. She suffered a gunshot wound to the head. She was in the hospital for 57 days, discharged today.
Let's go.
Great sign. Here's some video of that discharge. And there she is.
That's amazing.
There she is. Yes, rocking the St. Paul Saints hat, too.
Love it. What an amazing story. And just honestly, I cannot imagine what she's been through over the last 50-plus days. But to come out of all of it with a smile and leave out in the limo, I mean, that's a happy ending.
No doubt.
A lot of these stories don't usually get a happy ending, but that's a happy ending right there.
Absolutely. The doctors previously said she could be the third victim. So good to see for you, Sophia, to get out of there. And that's awesome.
Let's go.
We talked about the Vikings Chargers. I know you're going to be running deep into this tonight. The Vikings haven't won a road Thursday game in 47 years. They've lost 7 straight.
47 years.
But Carson Wentz is undefeated on Thursday Night Football. 7-0. 7-0.
So something's got to give.
Something's got to give.
Somebody's always got to go.
That's right.
That's interesting.
Yes.
I didn't think you wouldn't have thought that Carson Wentz has even played that many Thursday night games, but hopefully he looks better tonight than he did on Sunday. That's for sure.
That's right. We'll be getting into some more Vikings talk later. And then on Netflix, you mentioned they're putting out something with Jane Goodall, the late great Jane Goodall.
They put out a short documentary.
Yeah.
I think it was called Famous Last Words.
Yeah.
And it was a documentary specifically meant to be released when she passes away. And I think a lot of people thought okay, maybe Jane Goodall just specifically requested this or something like that. But no, it turns out there's a series of these documentaries that have been filmed with other older celebrities that will not be released until their death. So I find that a little strange, a little morbid. You get the call from Netflix and it's like, hey, you want to? It's like, what do you mean? I'm healthy. I thought I was doing all right. You know, that's kind of like the Grim Reaper knocking on your door. If Netflix calls and says they want to do your last documentary, it seems it's a strange concept.
Yeah.
A very strange concept. The Jane Goodall one was good though, but very strange concept. And just thinking about death in general just kind of freaks me out. But hey, that's what we're doing today.
It's a great segue into what we're doing next. It's an eco-friendly way for loved ones to bury their passed on members of their family. It's a green cemetery. If you have questions at home, we got questions too. Matt Connell, he's got all the answers. That'll be coming up next here on the Welcome back here to the afternoon shift. Maxx just mentioned the Last Words documentary on Netflix with Jane Goodall, and having a way to kind of ease people in from this life to the potential next life.
Yeah, it's it gives me shivers.
It's a little strange
thinking about it, for sure. It's like my number one fear in life, But there's lots of things you can do ahead of time.
That's right.
To make yourself feel more comfortable, including possibly picking out where you're gonna go when it's all said and done, and maybe this green cemetery is some place that some of our viewers are gonna go.
That's right. It's in Black Hoof Township, about 25 miles southwest of Duluth. Here to tell us more about this green cemetery is the owner of it, Matt Connell. Matt, welcome to the afternoon shift. How are you, sir?
Hi, guys. Thanks a lot for having me on. I appreciate it.
We appreciate you. What is this green cemetery idea? Max and I, we were trying to make sense of it. What exactly is it in your eyes?
Well, it's funny because green burial actually used to be just called burial. And it wasn't until, after the Civil War where embalming became a thing, where they were transporting bodies from the Civil War back home. They needed to preserve them somehow. Then it evolved into big business. But the green burial was the normal practice for a long, long time, forever, actually, until it was kind of industrialized fairly recently. But it is coming back, and I'm glad that it's coming back, because embalming is not good for the environment. It's better to just lay someone to rest in their natural state.
That's kind of funny that you mentioned that, because when I was cooking up my questions, I was going to ask, what is the origin of this? And I was like, probably just people dying. People probably did this a long time. And this was probably the first way that people did it before they do it how they do it now. So it's funny that you mentioned that. Maybe it's just a semantics thing, but I am curious. What is the difference between a cemetery and a graveyard?
Okay, so I think a lot of people have this image in their head of a conventional cemetery in the United States, where you see rows of headstones and there's a mausoleum and stuff like that. We don't do any of that stuff. We make sure that the property maintains its natural state. What we've done at Loving Earth is plant hundreds of trees. We've planted countless flowers, and we actually do not permit headstones, nor do we permit vaults or, large high-end caskets that are made from various polymers that are not good for the environment. We also do not permit the bodies to be embalmed. So what you see when you look at a green cemetery, it looks more like an arboretum than anything else. It's walking trails, it's flowers, it's birds, it's deer. You would never really know that it was a cemetery unless somebody pointed it out to you or you read the sign out front.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Matt, you talked about the embalming thing and how that goes to the Civil War of a way to bring bodies back. Why do people embalm someone today? I understand maybe if there's a open casket, there would be, a reason for that. But if it's a closed casket, what's the rationale for embalming today?
There really isn't a reason to do it, especially in a closed casket scenario. There's really, it doesn't serve any purpose. The body will still decay no matter what. And a lot of people have this idea in their head that, the body will stay preserved and they will be able to envision their loved one as they always remember them and not picture them returning back to the earth. But that still happens. And even with vaults and fancy high-end caskets, it's only a matter of time, and a short amount of time at that, where those caskets will eventually fill with water. And anything that's made out of iron, ferrous material, is going to corrode, and water is going to seep in. And the worst part about that, when you have an embalming situation, is that those highly toxic embalming fluids seep into the ground. And a lot of people have the idea that a vault will protect that, from happening. but that's just not the case. Vaults are not to protect the body. Vaults are to support the ground up above for heavy equipment like, large backhoes and lawnmowers and stuff like that. We don't have any of those things. We don't require vaults. Don't even permit them actually. So there's to answer your question, there's no reason to do it, especially in a closed casket situation.
Matt, now we've kind of been talking about it throughout this interview. This is stuff that's like steeped in years and years and years of tradition. So I would imagine that when a new way to kind of handle things comes along, that not everybody have probably was super pleased about it. What has kind of been the community reactions around your green cemetery?
Yeah, there's been a lot of concern right off the bat. A lot of people were, they were worried about animals digging up bodies. They were worried about, the decaying bodies seeping into the groundwater. They were worried about neighboring kids digging up bodies. I mean, there were a lot of fears that were voiced. One lady even said to the county board, how would you like it if your kids were digging up dead bodies? And my thought was, if your kids are digging up dead bodies, I think the problem's more at home. That's really not, on us. That's a bigger problem that we need to talk about. But really those fears are not founded. Bodies in Minnesota especially, they decay quite quickly. We have a large amount of water. It does not take long for those bodies to return to the earth. And it does not reach the water table. That's been proven. The World Health Organization has done studies on it. Decaying bodies do not affect well water, and they certainly don't affect wetlands. That was another fear that was expressed, that this is going to contaminate the wetlands. But if you take an average acre of wetland in Minnesota, it is filled with tons and tons and tons of decaying organic material. You've got bugs, you've got mice, you've got fish that are all going through the life cycle and all returning back to the earth. The wetlands can handle it. What they cannot handle is embalming fluid. What they can't handle is increased greenhouse gas being released, from the transport of headstones, from the transport of vaults, from the creation of these artificial caskets. They don't like that. A decaying body is not a problem for wetlands.
Matt, just so I understand this correctly, in your cemetery and I hate to be so direct here, but is the body just put in the ground? Like, is there no casket involved? Like, you just literally just dig a hole and put a body in the ground?
No, well, we dig a hole that's 3.5 to 4 feet deep, in order to make sure that there's enough microbial activity to effectively break the body down and to be reabsorbed by the plants up above, to where the roots can actually reach them and use those nutrients. But no, we encourage people to either use shrouds, 100% cotton shrouds, or pine caskets. The old school term is called toe pinchers, and it's what you would see in like the movie Tombstone. The pine caskets. Those are perfectly acceptable, and those are available. They also you can also find wicker caskets, bamboo caskets. Those are all very welcome at Loving Earth.
Matt, what made you want to kind of get into the business of death, I guess, with Loving Earth over there? I don't think it's something that a lot of people ever, envision themselves getting into, but I got to imagine that there's some type of personal reason that made you really want to compel you to do this.
Fair question. No, truth be told, I was always one of those kids that found the peace and quiet of the cemetery very comforting, and no one complained that I smoked. That was a pretty laid back crowd at the cemetery. But I've always felt very very comfortable, around death. I've had death of loved ones that I've had to go through the grieving process multiple times, and I have compassion for people. It's something that I understand and have navigated through myself, and I have something to offer there. However, this is very common in America. I was stuck in corporate America, and, I felt like I had much more to offer. I really was just kind of lost it, but I didn't know how to escape. And one day I was working, watching YouTube, and I came across a TED Talks about alternative methods for handling human remains, and I was just absolutely fascinated by it. I really was interested in it a lot. And the very next video that came up was Ed Bixby, my partner in this endeavor. It was about his cemetery in New Jersey at Steelmantown Church. And he talked about green burial and why it's important and how it's done. And I thought, wow, this guy's, at first I was jealous. I was like, wow, this guy's really got it figured out. He gets to be outside all the time. He gets to help people. He's really lucky. And then on my way home that night, it hit me like a lightning bolt. It was really like a very uplifting spiritual experience for me. It was, go do this. Do this. This is what you are meant to do. There's no reason you can't do it. And so right then and there, I pretty much checked out. I'd already quit. I was like, okay, this is it. So I was very confident in moving forward with this, but it's been hard. It's been a very difficult road. It's not. I thought that I would have a very quiet, chill life outside, just helping people. Helping people grieve, helping people. Through that whole process, and here I am on TV talking to you guys. I didn't anticipate that. So forgive me if I'm nervous. This is not something I had planned for myself, but it's where I belong. It's where my heart is, and I have a deep love and compassion for human beings in the most general sense. I have this overwhelming desire to help people, and this is where my skills are. This is where I belong.
Well said, Matt. Green Cemetery. I guess one more I have for you. What would you say to those that say, well, I like going to visit my parents or my grandparents at a specific site, and I know that they're there, and I want to spend time with them there on their birthday or the anniversary of their death. And here, obviously, there's no tombstone, so that doesn't exist. What would you say to those people?
We encourage the planting of trees, or, we also offer 16 different varieties of native wildflower species to place atop the grave, so that, your loved one's grave is marked by, a plant that you put there. A tree, a blueberry bush. We have a wide range of options for people. But, with technology advancing, there's a lot of things that are possible now, especially with augmented reality, to where the graves could be marked digitally, just on your phone. We have geo marking. You can mark the spot, but really, generally, people remember it's not that big of a place. It's really fairly easy to remember, and the most important thing is that I will remember. It's all marked down and recorded. So all you would have to do is ask me and say, "Hey, where's Grandpa? Can we? I thought it was over here, but it's actually no, it's over here." So I mean, I'll be there, to make sure people have have the right location and have the right spot. So one thing I have to clarify here. I'm not actually the owner of Steelman of Loving Earth. It's the title holder is actually Steelmantown Church. Just to clarify there, I'm the caretaker and cemeterian there. So, not that that's that big of a deal to people, but just to clarify.
For sure. Matt, if there's anybody out there that has more questions or wants to get in contact with it because they're interested in what you guys do over there at Loving Earth, how can they find out more info?
Sure. Yeah, we're not super active on social media yet. I think we want to wait and make sure that this whole thing is settled first, and we're permitted to open as we are rightfully allowed to do. And for now, they can reach us at lovingearthmg, as in memorialgardens.com, and they can email me at matt@lovingearthmg.com.
Matt with Green Cemetery, Matt Connell. We appreciate you, Matt. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, you guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Truly.
Thanks. Yeah, talking about death is a little squirmy.
He's got a good sense of humor on him. You gotta be a funny guy and be able to turn anything into some comedy when you're dealing with that kind of stuff all day.
Absolutely, very compassionate too, and I like the idea of the garden and sort of kind of returning there.
I think it's a beautiful concept.
Yes,
not for everybody, but I think it's a beautiful concept.
No doubt. Okay, we are going to be talking about this crazy NBA poker, illegal gambling, mafia, FBI story coming up next.
It sounds like Mad Libs, but it's all true, folks, and it all went down this morning with a current NBA coach, NBA point guard, and some other 30 other different people that were indicted in this whole thing. We're gonna give you the lowdown, the skinny, the nitty gritty on it right after these commercial breaks.
Back to the afternoon shift. You've probably seen the news coming out of the FBI this morning, and it's pretty wild.
It's pretty nuts. It's huge news for the NBA and for sports in general, as all these pro sports organizations and leagues continue to be more and more in bed with Las Vegas and these sports books and legalized sports gambling. Well, here's the other side of the coin. NBA Hall of Famer and Portland Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups, Miami Heat point guard Terry Rozier, and over 30 other defendants were indicted this morning in two, not just one, two separate federal investigations alleging sprawling, years-long criminal schemes involving the freaking Mafia with a capital M, by the way. And they're naming, I mean, this is not just your local mom and pop mafia. No. This is La Cosa Nostra, the Italian mafia. They name specific family names, but listen, I'm not a snitch. Omerta, you know what I'm saying? I'm just doing my job. Yes. Don't hurt me. Yeah. I'm not going to say those specific family names. If you want to look into it, go to the AP.
You don't want to sleep with the fishes and go to Green Cemetery.
Absolutely. I don't want to end up in the Green Cemetery. Cinder blocks tied to my legs that they can't get out, that they had to throw me in the Green Cemetery with the cinder blocks still on my legs. This is absolutely crazy. But yeah, two different investigations, and we're going to get into it, but why not hear from the FBI Director Kash Patel himself? He spoke on it a little bit earlier.
Today we are here in New York to announce a historic arrest across a wide-sweeping criminal enterprise that envelops both the NBA and La Cosa Nostra. The men and women up here standing with me represent a small portion of the leadership team that brought profound justice in an era that needed it more than any. I'll just highlight some of the details in the case and the FBI work, and then you'll hear from the others. But as you now know, individuals such as Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, and Terry Rozier were taken into custody today, former, current NBA players and coaches. What you don't know is that this is an illegal gambling operation and sports rigging operation that spanned the course of years. The FBI led a coordinated takedown across 11 states to arrest over 30 individuals today responsible for this case, which is very much ongoing. Not only did we crack into the fraud that these perpetrators committed on the grand stage of the NBA, but we also entered and executed a system of justice against La Cosa Nostra to include the Bonanno, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchese crime families. And you'll hear more about those details today. The charges and the arrests that were taken down across this country range from wire fraud, money laundering, extortion, robbery, illegal gambling. This FBI will leave no room for any perpetrator of crime across this country. You hear a lot about our work of defending the homeland and crushing violent crime. Well, this work is also representative of a colossal portion of the FBI's mandate to keep America safe and to keep our entertainment industry fair and secure. The men and women that are standing up here today worked tireless hours, days, months, and years. And the fraud is mind-boggling. It's not hundreds of dollars. It's not thousands of dollars. It's not tens of thousands of dollars. It's not even millions of dollars. We're talking about tens of millions of dollars in fraud and theft and robbery across a multi-year investigation.
Kash Patel.
Kash Patel.
Yes.
Clearly been taking public speaking classes with those very dynamic head swivels in the middle of sentences.
Sweet jacket, though.
Sweet jacket.
Very cool
It
jacket.
kind of looks like a guy cosplaying
Yes.
the director of
Yes.
the FBI rather
Yes.
than the actual
Yes.
director of
Yes.
the FBI. But
Yes.
clearly he means business. Terry Rozier and Chauncey Billups ain't making no light of it. And between the two investigations, Damon Jones, former Cavs assistant coach, an unofficial Lakers assistant coach, is the only kind of common thread. He's one of three defendants that are linked to both different investigations. But I think what Terry Rozier is being accused of is a little bit more serious than what's going on with Chauncey Billups. Rozier is accused of accessing private information from NBA coaches and players and then giving it to people of the general public for them to place wagers. In one specific instance, he told people in the mafia that he was going to leave a game early, March 23rd, 2023, which, by the way, this investigation, both of these investigations have been going on for over 4 years.
Yes.
This is not just something they started cooking up in January. This has been going on for years, clearly, because it says March 23rd, 2023 as a specific date. They said he was going to he told them he was going to leave the game early with an injury, and then more than $200,000 of wagers on the unders came in with Rozier leaving leaving the game after just 9 minutes. Those bets paid out tens of thousands of dollars in profits. And get this, they say allegedly Rozier counted the money in his living room with the mafia himself. This is like a freaking movie.
Yeah, it's crazy.
This is crazy. The 30 for 30 about this someday is going to be amazing.
And if you see the highlights of those games where Rozier is being accused of, listen, everybody innocent until proven guilty.
But yeah,
it looks
damning.
It looks like
it's pretty damning. It's pretty bad business. And they say that Terry Rozier got $200,000 out of this specific thing. Terry Rozier has made almost about $160 million throughout the multiple stops he's made in the NBA. So clearly there's something else going on here. There always is something else going on when the mafia is involved, but clearly there might be some gambling problems or some debts going on here because you made over $160 million and you're risking your career for $200K.
I know.
It's unheard of.
I know. Like you said, especially when you made that much amount of money and you're doing all this for $200,000. $200,000 is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
It's not.
I'll take it. But I don't have $160 million.
Right. It's not worth your career either. Right. It's just like, it's nuts.
It's unbelievable. Not to mention the NBA conducted their own investigation of Terry Rozier and found him not culpable for anything. They did this earlier in the year. I remember he got pulled out of some games late in the season last season, but they found out, they said, hey, under their investigation, I guess Terry Rozier can walk scot-free, but the FBI has a different bar for things. And Terry Rozier, one of several arrested this morning.
Yeah, and I know we're going to get to Chauncey Billups in a second. It's crazy. The Timberwolves kind of come into play here because Chauncey Billups coached against the Timberwolves last night.
Just last night.
And then in theory, because all this went down at like 8, 9 a.m. Central Time, so he's on Pacific Time, so he would have, in theory, woken up and had a knock on his door and said, you're under arrest.
Yeah. Probably left the arena mad, salty that Anthony Edwards put 41 on his head. He has to soak in that L. He goes to sleep having nightmares of Anthony Edwards and his clutch mid-range jump shots and three-pointers. Wakes up to a knock on the door, and it's the Fed saying, why don't you come with us, Chauncey?
That's crazy.
I mean, that's crazy. And obviously that's just fan fiction. Yeah. I don't know exactly. Nobody knows exactly how it went down, but Chauncey Billups accused of being a part of rigged poker games that were kind of being backed by the mafia, that they took over $7 million from unsuspecting players who were joining these games. They're lured in by the allure of playing with, an NBA Hall of Famer, Chauncey Billups. He's not just a Portland Trailblazers head coach. He was part of a championship-winning Pistons team.
Beat the Lakers,
Beat the Lakers in the NBA Finals. An NBA Hall of Famer that anybody, any basketball fan from that era will never forget Chauncey Billups. So you hear Chauncey Billups is in this poker game. Hey, I want to play cards with Chauncey Billups. Maybe my friends would think that's pretty cool. Well, check it out. The games they weren't just a little rigged. This wasn't just small mom and pop nickel and diamond here. Check this out. There was a card shuffling machine, hidden cameras in poker chip trays, special sunglasses that gave you an advantage, even X-ray equipment built into the table so they could read the cards face down of unsuspecting players. I mean, this is Scooby-Doo kind of stuff.
Yes.
This is Get Smart James Bond type technology.
Yes.
Robbing these unsuspecting folks who think that they're just playing a poker game with Chauncey Billups.
That's crazy.
But really, they're playing it with the mafia. I'll leave the name and the names to Cash Patel. He's a lot more protected than boy is. Omerta. I'm not going to say none of the names. I ain't no snitch out here. But both men face money laundering and wire fraud conspiracy charges and are expected to make appearances today in court if they already haven't.
Whatever happened to just going to a casino and playing poker like
a
normal person?
Right? Just like getting a group of your buddies together, maybe even in the locker room. I don't know if that's probably frowned upon as well, but it's not. It's not subject to an FBI investigation.
Right.
You and Dame, you guys are old heads. Chauncey and Dame Lillard, just orchestrate a little poker game amongst yourself. But when the mafia is involved, I feel like it goes a lot deeper than just your average poker game at your buddy's house.
Yeah, and maybe there's an adrenaline rush to saying that you're playing cards with some of these families and that sort of thing. I guess the Aria in Las Vegas, it's not good enough to go there.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I just don't get it.
Maybe it's one of those things where you say it once and then you're like, okay, I did it, and then they're like, okay, you got to come back next week and the week after that, and you're like, well, I don't want to, and they're like, no, you're going to come back the week after that. Because and all attorneys always are in the initial phase of these kind of things, but it sounded like Chauncey Billups' attorney was pretty brash, like, hey, my client is going to get out of this situation, but we'll see. Whatever happens in the grand scheme of things, I think it's pretty safe to bet the under on games coached for Chauncey Billups from here on out. I would imagine that this is the last we'll ever see of Chauncey Billups on an NBA court.
I would agree with that. And back to the sports gambling thing, and I am an advocate for sports gambling. I think it makes watching sports more fun. I think Minnesota should legalize it. This has been going on for decades. It's just because we have these things that are legal now, this is how people are getting caught now.
Absolutely.
It's not like this wasn't happening 20 years ago and 30 years ago. It's like it makes it easier for people to get caught now.
There's more of a trail now, and it's way simpler to place these bets. So you can just go on your phone, even I'm not encouraging this, obviously, but even people in Minnesota, there's ways for them to place bets elsewhere in the country, maybe even in the world.
Yes.
And back in the day, you used to be able to, hey, you hand your buddy, a couple stacks, go place a bet on me doing the what. I'm sure this has been going on in sports forever, like you said. Same thing with the NIL. Before there was NIL, coaches were paying off these players. They were buying them Ferraris. It's been happening. It's going to keep happening.
Yes.
But now we have trails, and now the NBA. It's more of a problem, not necessarily for the fans viewing it, but more of a problem for these leagues who are in bed with all these different sports books now. So it's going to be murky waters for them to navigate, and it's been happening in the NBA a little bit more. Obviously, it happened with Jonte Porter just a year ago. He was named in some of these indictments, by the way. So maybe he had, maybe he got off a little scot-free because he assisted with this investigation, but that remains to be seen. But I would imagine some stuff like this is going to start happening in all of the major pro sports leagues. And I would say especially looking to some of these other pro sports that aren't making as much money, watch out for that as well. But I would expect there's going to be something like this eventually that happens in the MLB, in the NFL, in the NHL. It's just bound to happen when you're in bed with these sports books like the way that these organizations are.
No doubt. By the way, the Vikings are 3.5-point underdogs tonight.
And by the way, the Wolves won.
They are, and they covered the spread too.
Look at that! So Chauncey made a couple bucks on the back end right before the Feds came knocking on the door. I'm kidding. But Wolves 1-0 so far. My prediction is correct, but obviously that the game is buried deep underneath these more startling, shocking allegations in the headlines today.
Yeah, and by the way, again, if you're a pro athlete and you're making millions of dollars, listen, placing bets for average Joes, like it's. The $10 bets are fun.
Yeah.
But when you don't need to do
your
bet is your contract. That's your bet. That's your bet.
You're in the NBA. You're playing against the best of the best. You're in the best basketball league in the world, and you're in your living room wanting to be Tony Montana, counting out cash.
Makes no sense.
$200K in cash with the mafia. It's like, brother, you're watching too many movies.
Yes.
You're listening to too much music right now. This is not your life. You're a hooper. Go be a hooper.
Yes.
Live your life in peace with your millions. You don't need to be doing this. But I'm very curious to see when more details arrive and come our way, and then future documentaries come out about this, because this is, just ripe for the picking when it comes to documentary material.
No doubt about that. No doubt. That was great, and we'll have more on that as the story continues to develop. Too.
I'll be keeping my eye on it for sure.
Yes, we're keeping our eye on the weather. It's supposed to be a really nasty winter. Ian Leonard is coming up next. Fox 9 chief meteorologist. There he is. There he is. There he is. Well, yes. Why don't you just come in here? There he is.
Hold on, just a minute.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
He's coming.
Nobody ever is on the death.
Got the most serious person at Fox 9 in studio.
Oh,
with
is he
us.
coming?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, 'cause they just told me to come in.
Yes, yeah. Minnesota's #1 weatherman, Fox 9 chief meteorologist Ian Leonard.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks for coming.
That's a heck of a billing.
It's true. It's true.
What's the rank? Is this like a coach's ranking kind of thing? Is there an AP
It's an
poll
AP
as well?
poll. and
Yeah.
as your forecast gets worse, you drop in the poll. Hey, you hear Leonard's ranked 25th? Like, how did I drop so far? I don't even think there's 25 people.
I don't even know any other meteorologists outside of Fox 9. That's how big.
Well, I mean, you just totally undermined your compliment. You're like, you're the #1 guy.
No,
but I don't know anybody else, so you're automatically.
What's the best restaurant in town? Oh, it's Chez Fla Fla Fla. Well, where else have you eaten? Nowhere.
What is the best restaurant in town? For me and Leonard, by the way.
Oh, that's a case. So, no, but can I? But
Yeah, that's tough.
so I have so. I mean, I think you have to divide it into categories, like
Right.
almost ethnic food categories, because I love them all. And to choose one, it'd be like saying, "Who's your favorite kid?"
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I love.
I got a favorite kid. No,
You have a
I
favorite
got one.
I love. Oh wow, I really do love the Smack Shack.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know, it's seafood, but they have the best wings in town.
Yeah.
I'm going to start. I mean, this is not good. We'll talk about this another day.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring in, let's do this. Let's do like a hot ones.
Yeah.
And I'll bring in a selection of wings.
Oh.
And one of those selections of wings will actually be my own, with my own sauce. And we'll see if you guys have the palate to pick it out.
I would like that.
I would love
this
that.
Is a great
All right.
segment
Are you
idea.
an elite wing mind? Are you a great wing chef?
I know. I just like. I know what I like.
Yeah, yeah.
I know what kind of wings I like. I don't like slimy. I think we're getting off topic here. No, I don't like slimy. I don't like undercooked, and I don't like just a blah sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it just like pow.
With some gusto.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you feel it the next day, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the NOAA here, the winter outlooks, which is why we have you on.
Yeah.
The first snow of the season. It's been reported. International Falls yesterday and today. The NOAA, they're going to say it's a bad winter. You do you follow that or?
Okay, so
What is the NOAA?
Yeah,
by the way?
yeah.
National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Association.
Say
So
that
it is basically the organization that oversees everything weather that's government based, including the National Weather Service. They also create and compare and contrast all the modeling data, millions and millions of algorithmic digits that we truly use. We don't use their forecasts, but we use the output from some of their supermodels. Here's the thing. Winter forecasting, when you live in Minnesota, is silly. You know, because as a nerd, I get into it. They'll be like, you know, we'll talk about how it might be statistically a little warmer and snow might be a little bit down. To which I go, okay, nerds unite and we'll talk about it over there in the corner. But for everybody else, 99% of the people in Minnesota, here's the news flash. It's still going to be really ridiculously cold.
Yeah.
You're still going to have to contend with snow and ice on the roads and all that other bad stuff. And you're still going to have to shovel. So when we put out this, when you start reading these winter outlooks, I'm like, we gotta just chill. You know, and literally we will.
Literally.
You know, because it's going to get cold, it's going to get snowy, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. Will we have slightly less snow? Okay, so let's put it all into perspective. Right. Up to about 15 years ago, I would take a month to do the research to try and put our own winter forecast together. And you know, ready for this?
Yeah.
All nerds, please unite. All nerds, please unite. Wonder nerds. So there's the North Atlantic Oscillation. There's the Pacific Decadal Oscillation. There's ENSO, which is La Nina and El Nino. There's the Bermuda High. There's the Polar Front Jet, the Subtropical Jet. All of these things, a myriad of components. I just named 7, of which there's probably 30. Now, if you were to be a person who at the very beginning of the year said, these 30 football players on this particular team, altogether, that means they're going to win the Super Bowl. Well, the first week, 2 guys get injured. The second week, another guy gets traded. I mean, things change. Even as you're looking at it from the outset, and you go, that's the perfect alignment of everything. And that's the problem with these long-range forecasts. We take chaos and we go, I got it. And then you go, I know what this chaos is going to be doing in 12 weeks.
Yeah.
And I'm here to say, we're just human. We can do that. We will do it. I think it's human nature to try and predict, whether it's sports or food or anything like that.
Yeah.
I think it's human nature. We want to try and go, I got it. It's under my thumb. I nailed it. Yeah. It's a tough one. Yeah. So I think the takeaway here, and not to put it down, not to put my own occupation down, but the takeaway is it's going to be cold. It's going to be snowy. With a La Nina starting to show up, and we're just barely off neutral. So that, if you got this is the pendulum, you got El Nino, you're like, wow, there's nothing going on. It's like we didn't have winter. And then there's a La Nina, a big one. You're like, this is the worst winter ever. When you get to neutral, here's how the forecast works. Officially, it's equal parts of above and below average. What? I mean, it's the biggest cop-out ever.
Yeah.
So we're just barely on the La Nina side right now. If and when a deep La Nina develops, we'd be looking for more snow. The core of the most snow would be the central Great Lakes. And we end up being just on the fringe here in western Wisconsin and parts of Minnesota. We would be cooler than an average year. But like I said, we're talking statistically cooler, maybe 3 degrees cooler for the entire 3-month winter period. Yeah. You're not going to feel it.
No. Right.
So.
But that's not a good enough headline. You got to put like terrible, the second coming of the Ice Age
La
winter.
Nina to kill everybody. And you're like, oh my God, I better click on that. You're absolutely right. And that's the day and age we live in. And it doesn't make any sense if we say, this winter it's going to be cold again and there's going to be some snow. Thanks for watching and clicking. People are like, that's the worst forecast in the history of the world. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of clickbait out there, and there is in everything we do.
Right.
But when it comes to these seasonal forecasts, look, the truth is we're getting better. And here's the truth when it comes to Minnesota. When you don't look at where the numbers come from, but you as a meteorologist, you sit down, you do the research, and you put the numbers together. In the last 30 years, we are technically, statistically up in temperatures. And our greatest change in temperatures has been overnight lows during the winter. And again, something you might not necessarily feel, but here's where the big change happens. It makes it harder and harder for us to hold onto our snowpack longer and longer. And you're like, well, that's good. Let's get rid of the snow. We are an agricultural state.
Yeah, right.
The longer we hold onto our snowpack, the less topsoil we lose, and topsoil erosion due to winds in the spring. And the longer we hold onto our snowpack, the more we get a snow melt. It melts down into the fields, and we can hold onto it instead of it running off on frozen soil. So there are little tiny things like that. Again, and I know this gets like way in the weeds and way nerdy, but
Literally in the weeds.
it's kind of who I am. We were talking off camera, and I said, I'm just a dad who's a nerd. And there's a lot of times, 2.5 minutes on Fox 9 to do the forecast. You don't have a lot of time to really hit this sort of stuff. But yeah, statistically, things have changed dynamically in the last 30 years. And in terms of climatology, we have records that go back all the way to the 1800s. We call those the pioneer era, right? Like Laura Ingalls Wilder. And they're good, but they're not great. There's not a lot of old quality control in the gas thermometers and things like that they used to use. So we use 30-year climate data, which when you think about it, I mean, how old are you?
33. Yeah. 31.
31.
Yeah, I'm a lot
35.
older than that.
35.
I'm about to turn 60.
Oh.
So, but it's my point is 30 years isn't a long time.
No.
And even if you double it to my age, it's still not a long time.
Right.
So there haven't been these big epoch momentous shifts.
Yeah.
But there are little tiny ones that we can see, and they're little tiny trends. There are little tiny biofauna. The moors and the fungus and the molds that people don't care about. But without getting at least 22 days of real cold temperatures, they don't die off anymore like they used to in the 70s. So that really hits the northern boreal forest. That hits things like chronic wasting disease for the elk and the deer and the moose and all I'm putting Max to sleep, dude.
No, I love it.
So, I mean, these are all the little things that we key on, but that's not clickable either. People are like, northern boreal forest retreating. People be like, Yeah, I'm not clicking on that link. That sounds boring.
Yeah, you've dropped so much knowledge on us, but Paul's going to make the headline of this clip: Ian Leonard hates meteorology. Because we need people to click on it.
It's so, and that's the thing. I don't want to. I'm not assaulting my very own profession.
Of course, yeah.
Well, I'm just letting people know that there's a lot of real in-depth stuff that we love to talk about.
Yeah.
Most people don't. Yeah. The emerald ash borer.
Yeah.
People drive down a neighborhood and they'll see like these orange ribbons on trees, or the trees will be spray painted orange. Mm-hmm. Those trees got to go, and you're like, no, not that big, beautiful, majestic tree. Yeah, it's infectable. Why? Because we don't have as deep and cold a winters anymore to kill a lot of these bugs, to kill a lot of these mold and spore and fungi. Yeah. And that's what you are. You're a fungi.
I am a fungi. We actually talked about the emerald ash borers on this show one time.
That's right. We did.
We've kind of covered some meteorology.
Yeah, so all of that sort of stuff, climatology, and really it's geosciences, that whole thing together. Yeah. It is changing. Yeah. There's absolutely no doubt. It's not changing at a rate that has been promised for all these years. It isn't.
You bring up El Nino and La Nina. What's the difference between the two of those? And I know we're at neutral right now. What are the extremes?
So if you were to just give you a basic idea of what it is, it's the changing of the sea surface temperatures down toward equatorial portions of the Pacific. Yeah. So an El Nino winter would see those sea surface temperatures go higher. Yeah. And that changes the positions of the overall flow of the subtropical jet and the polar front jet. If we can move the polar front jet stream further to the north, it is the bottling of the cold Arctic air. The further north, the less winter we get. It's fairly simple stuff. Yeah. It's kind of like X plus Y equals fungi.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's an equal and opposite reaction to whatever's happening in the atmosphere. Yeah. So when we can change things on a massive scale, I mean, think about changing sea surface temperatures on a massive scale. No upwelling, it changes the dynamics, it changes the fishing industry down toward Central America. It changes the way the biofauna moves, and some people even think it starts to move some of, or at least inhibit or make the tectonic plates perhaps shift a little easier. Wow. So there's a lot of, you do this, you get that.
Yeah.
And I always use a sports analogy. If something happens at this point in the game, it creates something else at another point in the game, if not almost immediately. Mm-hmm. In hockey, it's always the team races down, and it's like the most incredible scoring chance. The team goes down the ice the other way, and it's generally a goal.
Right,
Like, how does that happen all the time? So for us, it's always about trying to find those keys. Yeah. We look for those markers, and once we find those markers, we tend to extrapolate it, and then we extrapolate it really far, and then we get a really good headline for the website.
You mentioned how it's kind of notorious. Like the further out you go, it kind of gets the murkier out it gets.
For sure.
I guess how far can you actually predict until it starts to get inaccurate?
Well, it's a great question. People get mad at us. As meteorologists, we'll be at a grocery store standing in line, and somebody says, "Oh, you really messed that one up." And you're like, "What do you mean?" Well, you said it was going to rain, and then I have to say, "Well, no, I didn't. I don't know who you watch." And they're like, "Oh, yes, you did." I say, Here's what we'll do. You go and buy a couple of coffees. I like espresso straight. And you bring it to the TV station, and we'll watch the video of the forecast. And if I didn't say that, then you get a tour of the TV station. You brought me a coffee. And if I did say it, I'll give you the money for the coffees. And people are always like, no, forget it. But the 3-day forecast in the 1970s was about as accurate as the 7-day forecast is now. Mm-hmm. So we're getting much better at moving forward in time, but it is an imperfect science. I'm the first person to say that. Temperature forecasting is much easier than precipitation forecasting as we move out further and further in time. But what clouds that over in the winter is the amount of snowpack we have. So look at this table. It's basically a bright color. Yep. Yeah. If we were to take this outside on a bright sunny day, this table would warm up, but it wouldn't be hot. Mm-hmm. Right next to it, have a table like this. It's black. Yeah. You couldn't put your hands on it. It's super hot. So that's the reflectivity of a substance, and we call that albedo. Mm-hmm. The more sunshine we get in the winter versus how much snow we get. So, man, I'm getting deep.
Albedo.
We love it.
We warm up not by the sun passing through the air, but by the sun passing through the air and warming up the ground, resonates heat, and warms up the lowest levels of the atmosphere. That's how we get a warm, sunny day.
Interesting.
During the winter, the albedo of snow is extremely high. The sun penetrates, hits the snow, and is reflected or refracted away. It can't warm up the ground. That's why on a beautiful sunny day, it's still 10 below.
Yeah.
Right? So
Those are the worst.
So, you know, I know, right?
I feel so betrayed. I know it's January, but like I see the sun and I'm like, yay! And it's like, damn you.
So for years, I've been calling that a window forecasting. So you're inside and you look out the window, you're like, oh my God, everybody, we're going outside. And you get outside and you're like, oh, this sucks. It's freezing. So, you know, trying to figure out how much snow is going to be around in January directly influences how warm and or cold January is going to be. So, you know, I was talking earlier about all those factors that go into this. It's not a cop-out, but it's a real tough thing to do. And I think anybody who says it with any degree of this is what's going to happen in January, that's the accurate forecast. Good night, America. I would pull them aside and go, dude, I mean, I get it. You're trying to sell it, but come on.
Ian, before we let you go, I know you're from Canada. You gonna be watching the World Series? You excited about this on Fox?
Yeah, I am. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved the Blue Jays in the early 90s. I still think, and I can't believe that people don't quote this. I think one of the greatest World Series plays of all time is the Joe Carter walk-off homer. And people say, oh, no, it was Boggs, it was all those other things. And I say, it doesn't matter what team it was. It was a walk-off to win the World Series.
Yes.
Like, how can that not be one of the greatest?
Yes.
You don't get more theatrical.
No.
Yes.
And, you know, that was when the Blue Jays have been in the league, 41, 42 years, something like
that.
that. And to do that is amazing. But then I run into people like, oh, yeah, that Canadian team. I'm like, I don't think there's any Canadian players on it. It's geographic, man. I mean, it's a wild series, though.
Yeah.
That's a lot of plane riding.
It's a lot. It's
You
a
know,
lot. Yeah.
for these players, man, and you know, somebody's got to stay with all the passports and keep them all in control and figure that out. There's a lot going on. I mean, I'd like the Blue Jays to win. I'm not a big Dodgers guy, if I'm being honest, but I will tell you this. The Dodgers have those 3 lefty hitters with Ohtani as well.
Yeah.
I think they're going to go right through the bullpen of the Blue Jays. I'm saying that. So here's what I would, and Max, I think you'd agree. A wager, you know, you just talked about wagering.
Yeah.
A wager is absolutely needed at this point in time. Would you not agree, my friend?
I think so.
I think so,
I think
too.
there is.
I got one for you. How about this?
It's going to be...
This is fair. This is fair. The Blue Jays win. I'll send you some. I'll bring some C's candy, each handcrafted in Los Angeles. The best chocolate in America. I'll give you a whole box of C's.
It's the worst wager.
If the Blue Jays win, I get some authentic poutine. You make some poutine?
I could get poutine for sure.
Yeah,
my friend owns a big poutine.
Or the wings. Or you bring in the wings for us.
Oh, we're doing that anyway.
Oh,
Yeah, we got it.
No,
I
I
think
think
you guys switch jobs for a day. Adam does the meteorology. If the Blue Jays win,
Man
Adam
doesn't want that.
has to be on the board.
Oh, that would be
You could assist.
just for one segment.
Yeah, just one
Just for
segment.
one segment.
You'll be there to help him
You
out.
have to put on a suit of my choosing,
Yes.
a tie of my
Yeah,
choosing.
you basically have to cosplay as Ian.
Okay. I'm down for this.
All right, yeah, that's good.
I'm
we'll
down
work
for
it out.
this. I'm down,
We'll
yeah.
make it we'll make it a 7 p.m. segment.
I
We'll
love
get
it.
and listen, I'm not going to throw you to the dogs. We'll bring you in there. We'll train you up.
Sure.
A lot of physicality,
Sure.
a lot of put chin ups and stuff
This
like
is great.
that.
This is great. I like this. I like
be
this.
great.
C's candies. Get out of here.
Oh,
What am I, 10 years old?
I like C's. It's the only chocolate I eat.
You're gonna pull them out of your
They're
pocket.
handcrafted
They're
in
gonna
LA.
like your grandma. They got lint on them.
I got one of my afro hairs on.
Here,
them,
this
yeah.
is fine. Just eat it. It's fine.
Go for it.
C's candies.
I know.
Oh my
The
god.
funny thing is,
Maybe we could bet some Werther's hard candies.
this is the only chocolate I eat. I know we had our Minnesota LA bet. The game is happening tonight, although we don't really claim the Chargers, so I can't really side with them.
No,
So,
that's
yeah.
fine. That's
Yeah,
fine. No, it's got to be
This is
Dodgers,
better.
Blue Jays.
This is
And
better.
I'm making this wager, knowing full well that I think the Dodgers bats are going to be on fire.
Yeah. It's gonna be great. I think it's gonna be a really great fight. It's gonna be fun. You can watch all the games on Fox 9. It'll be great. You're coming on after all the games. So
I'm rooting for the Blue Jays so hard now. I need to see
This
it.
whole
So hard.
everybody is. I get it. It's kind of LA against the world here, so it's fine.
Whatever narrative you guys got to tell yourself.
You and Bateman, what's his name? Jason Bateman.
Jason Bateman.
Yeah, he's a big Dodgers guy.
Yeah. Ian, we really appreciate you coming in.
I'm not sure I answered any questions.
Oh, you did.
He
It was
answered all the questions.
We got way into the weeds.
This is great. This was really great.
That's why
and
we love you.
Maybe another great place to be a meteorologist is Southern California. Here in Minnesota, it's wintertime there and whatever. It's
Man, the dudes on the air at San Diego, they're like, let's check the weather radishes today. in the weather garden, and my wife's from San Diego, and I go down there, I'm like watching the weather going, weather radishes? What am I missing? But there's not a lot to talk. Hey, let's check out the surf report. It's rolling 3 to 5 off the La Jolla shore. Like, wow, this is cool. Yeah. I think that's where you go when you don't really want to do too much.
Shout out to La Jolla, by the way, one of the great cities in the world.
I love surfing and swimming at La Jolla shores. Point and back, that's the best.
Yeah, Torrey Pines, great place.
Yeah, love it.
I love it. So we got some San Diego. We're talking the Chargers later today. This is great.
Right.
We got
Lots
San
of
Diego.
LA love. Lots
Yeah.
of LA love.
What are you bringing?
I'm not bringing anything, apparently. I'm just a bum. I'm a beach bum. I'm just here tanning.
I like
get
that.
my tan on,
We'll rent our boards off Maxx. Maxx is
Yes.
Seaside Shack. It's like pina coladas and surfboards.
Pina Frolada.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I like it.
I love this bet. This is great.
Yeah.
That was a great idea. This is
gonna be
great.
great.
This
I'm
is great.
excited.
I'm
We
excited.
just want to see him on the air.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
People be like, what's going on
hell
there?
is going on?
Who's that fella? And then you can come on too.
Yeah, I would love to.
We'll do a double.
Yeah.
We'll do a double.
Yeah.
We'll do a double. This is great.
Tag team weather.
Great.
Tag team weather.
Tag
get, like,
team
tag team.
back again.
Oh.
Yeah.
We can have the whole matching outfits. We'll get tag team titles. This would be amazing.
Belts.
Yes, got to.
This is going to be great.
Ian, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
I didn't even do nothing. I just came. This is fun. I did make one last request. The last time I was here, I said, can we make sure there's some food around? Maybe just some snacks. This is my snack time of the day.
Yeah, sure.
And there's nothing.
We've had some the last couple days.
It's a
too,
veritable wasteland
Yeah.
of snack food.
You missed out on the Diwali food earlier
Oh,
this
yeah,
week.
that was good, yeah.
Oh, it was
I
amazing.
didn't get a note on that in my. I didn't get a note on that in my inbox. Just want to make sure everyone knows that.
We'll add you to the Slack channel.
We'll see you after the World Series. This will be great. Awesome.
Oh, I can't wait.
Awesome.
Let's go, Blue Jays.
We're going to be talking to the owner of Underneath It All Boutique right here in Eden Prairie coming up. Back here on the afternoon shift, it's a full house, Max and Grace.
It really is. It's a rare occasion. We have Grace in the house.
I
What's
know.
up, Grace?
I love being in here. I need to come in here more often.
I
It's
know.
cozy in here.
It is. You got an open invitation.
Yes.
Okay, all right. I'm going to take you up on that.
We have a very special guest here with us as well, Tracy Leviton. She is the owner, or the store manager, pardon me, of Underneath It All. It's a store right here in Eden Prairie down the street. Specifically caters to women right after breast surgery. We thank you for joining us, Tracy.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, can you tell us more about your business?
Sure. So Underneath It All, we are in Eden Prairie off 212 and Mitchell Road. We help women that go through any kind of breast surgeries, from before surgery all the way for the rest of your life, with bras, with prosthetics, with other educational support. We're just there to help them through a really tough time in their lives.
So you offer products like this. So instead of, is this like an alternative for women who maybe have underwent like a mastectomy, who maybe don't want to undergo more surgery? Would this be an option for them?
Yeah. So there's two options. There's an off-the-shelf form that comes in different sizes. They can put into a pocket on a bra. And then there's also a custom. This one, you can see the back is very different. It's designed to fit your body like a puzzle piece. It's quite a bit lighter than a traditional form, and it fits right against your skin, so you can wear any bra you want to off the shelf from any store.
That's super interesting. I think it's a really good alternative solution to maybe women who right now maybe aren't comfortable going through another procedure, or, you know, maybe even haven't had breast cancer but have had those mastectomies in order to, if they know they have the family history of that.
Yes.
What kind of customers, what do customers come into the store feeling versus how do they leave? How do they leave feeling?
There's so many different emotions in our store. People that are scared, that are angry, that are frustrated, that are just exhausted. We hope they leave feeling happy, feeling like we've cared for them and reached them on a level that made them feel comfortable, gave them some confidence back. We have a lot of different, all ranges of ages, all ranges of surgeries and procedures. It's a lot. It's a lot to take in and a lot to navigate.
Yeah, I can't imagine how many emotions are just in the air on at any given time on every day. So you guys are doing obviously really important work, and being that you're dealing with people on all kind of different levels and times on that spectrum, is there like for people maybe that want to have one of these but they can't make it to the store? Is there like a delivery options, or how does that work?
There are. We do ship to quite a few customers. Ideally, on your first trip in, we'd like to have you get fitted for the item. However, we do have a salesperson in our store who travels. She goes to New Ulm, Cambridge, Faribault, farther out areas, and tries to help people who can't come into the city. So we try to help with that too. We are open on Saturdays sometimes. We'll stay late, try to cater to people's schedules, because there's very few suppliers out there, and we want to be able to help. Yeah.
Tracy, there might be people at home that don't even know what a mastectomy is. Can you explain exactly what that is?
Absolutely. So the women that have breast cancer, or even that are prophylactic, I myself had a double mastectomy, prophylactic. My family history is riddled with cancer. There's lumpectomies, there's mastectomies. A mastectomy is the removal of the breast tissue. It could be single, it could be bilateral. So these are sort of like non-surgical reconstruction options, because some ladies that have gone through chemo and radiation and surgery just don't want to have another surgery. So this is a nice option, or if they haven't decided, they can wait a while and then maybe change their mind and do something different. We have patients that have gone flat for a while and then gone back and did reconstruction later. They've got so much going on in their lives, and so much is so scary that it's a lot to decide on right away.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said you have custom fittings for people. What do those look like for maybe someone who would consider this? You know,
Sure.
I read online that you could even match people's tattoos.
It's amazing. So a custom fitting, that's what this comes out of, a custom fitting. And you come in and we fit you with a size form that you like and a bra. Then we actually scan you with an iPad. And it's a 3D program that American Breast Care that we use. It scans your body in different areas. We do a walk around and take photos, and then they custom make this to fit against your skin, whether you have extra skin here or maybe a dip or a divot, and it just literally will fit exactly like a piece of a puzzle to you. And it is amazingly light and comfortable. So it's a really nice option for ladies, especially if you have a bigger chest. Those get heavy. Those forms get really heavy.
Yeah.
I'm curious, kind of how long has Underneath It All been around, and kind of what was I would imagine the inspiration is rooted in some tragedy here for
so
the
it started before my time. Two nurses started it years ago. My boss has owned it for 5 years. The two ladies that started it were nurses, and they have since retired. everyone in our company has someone that's been touched by breast cancer or something like that. Most people have somebody that they know that has been touched by it. So my boss Kimberly bought the store, and she just really wants to help. We want to help everyone. It's the most rewarding job that there is, honestly.
I bet.
We can spend a little bit of time with these ladies that have these journeys, and we can do a little bit to help, and that is amazing.
You know, a question I know, and I can't say I've had anybody in my family that has been touched by breast cancer. How often should women be getting tested and checked for to make sure that they are good, and so they can be caught early in a stage there?
Yeah, I think it's very important to talk to your doctor. Be open with your doctor about it. Do your self checks at home. Get your mammograms. Be very diligent. You have to be diligent, because if you can catch something early, it can make a world of difference.
Yeah.
So I think just communicating with your doctor, making regular visits. We have people that have had theirs discovered at a regular routine physical. So just stay on top of that stuff. Time goes fast, and before you know it, 2 or 3 years may have gone by and you haven't been to the doctor. So.
I mean, I know from a young age we're told, like at 16 probably, to do self-exams, and it's something that you kind of grow up being a little scared about as a woman, and you hear it, and, you know, like I know a lot of people in my family who have had breast cancer who, you know, maybe have abnormal tissue. So it is a scary thing. What is the environment like in your store for women who are scared coming in? You know,
Sure.
How do you approach a woman that's probably very, very scared?
Our store, I think, is very welcoming, very peaceful, calming, clean. We have a lot of ladies that come in just for a consult. They maybe have been diagnosed and they want to just talk. What does it look like? What are our options? Things like that. So we try to just be very supportive. We have a lot of resources we can can give to them for help in other different organizations. We just try to take the time to talk them through. Sometimes they just want to talk a little bit and have somebody listen. I think a lot of women come in and they want to be able to take control of a little bit of something. There's so much going on that's unknown. If they can come in and talk about different things and get different products to help them have a little bit of control, that helps. Makes you feel a little less helpless. So.
Yeah. Underneath it all, a boutique store, and I think it's so interesting. Some of the materials you brought here, and I want to see what's in the box here too. It kind of just looks like a lingerie kind of shop, but there's something definitely more to that.
Yeah.
Are there any other stores like this that are really out there?
There are a couple,
Yeah.
but in the nation, we're one of the top 4 in the nation. So there's a
Wow.
few other ones out there
Wow.
that are great.
Yeah.
We just really, we have all kinds of bras. I wanted to bring different bras to show you that they aren't all, you know, plain and beige. There are some cute options for ladies that are younger, whatever. Some people like color, some people don't.
Yeah.
When you walk in our store, it feels like you're in a boutique.
Yeah.
The owner's vision was that she didn't want it to feel like another doctor appointment. So you want to feel like you're just shopping, a little bit of normalcy. But yeah, we try to help with everything, prosthetics, bras, garments for breast cancer-related lymphedema. So we try to just be a one-stop shop for support and education and advocacy. We'll get your prescription from your doctor. We'll talk to your physical therapist. We try to make it as easy as possible.
That's great. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Like you said earlier, unfortunately, we kind of almost all of us out there know somebody that's been affected by this, or know somebody that knows somebody that's been affected by this. So I'm sure there's plenty of people out there viewing right now that know somebody that's going through this right now. How can people learn more about Underneath It All?
Please email me. My email is tracy@underneathitall.com. Our phone system is being upgraded, so we're having a few little quirks. So email me; it's the fastest way to get a hold of us. Or just come in. We're having an event on Sunday. Please come in. We'll have a lady there who's an educator who will talk about breast self-exams. We'll do fittings. We can help just educate and talk to people. We can set you up with items. But send me an email and I'll get back to you right away, and we can get you to come in and talk to us.
That's great.
So
Tracy with no E, Tracy.
Yep.
What's the email address one more time for the people at home?
It's tracy@underneathitall.com.
I love it. Grace, well done finding it. It's so important to market places like this because they're one of the few and like you said, one of the best in the country. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for having us. We really appreciate it.
No, thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for coming in. Coming up next, we're going to be previewing tonight's Bolts Vikings game with the #1 Chargers fan in the state of Minnesota. It's crazy, but he's in studio with us. And I saw him outside. He's rocking his San Diego
He's
supercar.
decked out.
He's rocking the
Yeah.
gear. He's rocking the
He's
gear.
ready to go.
We're pumped for the game tonight. We'll see you after this one. Welcome back to the afternoon shift. Max, there's some great fight songs in the NFL. You know,
Yeah.
Skull Vikings. All right, you know another really good one? I know they're no longer the San Diego
I
Chargers.
just feel like, first of all, I feel like you're doing this just for an excuse to sing. Second of all, let me hear it.
The San Diego Superchargers. Hey, you like this song, no?
No.
Big game for the Vikings tonight.
Big game. Huge game.
game for the Vikings tonight.
Huge game.
At SoFi Stadium in beautiful Inglewood, California. We have the biggest Chargers fan in the state of Minnesota in the house.
Wow.
He is the editor of the #1 Chargers blog site in the entire country, boltsfromtheblue.com. It's part of the SB Nation family. His name is Michael Peterson, and he joins us now. Mike, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm good, man. It's a big game tonight. It's
Yeah.
absolutely huge. The last time these two teams played, it was a classic.
Yeah.
Right. Obviously, the Vikings were on the wrong side of that, but
Yeah.
it was great football.
Yeah. Let's talk about the last time these two teams played. It was 2 years ago, 2023. The Chargers won 28-24. Justin Herbert, he lit up the Vikings that day. 405 pass yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Keenan Allen, 215 receiving yards. Justin Jefferson had a good game, 149 receiving yards and a touchdown. What does Justin Herbert? Does he have some confidence, you think, going into tonight's game based on what happened 2 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And one of the biggest things that's going to give him that confidence is Joe Alt coming back as their left tackle. You know, he went from the right side to the left side after Rashawn Slater got that big contract out for the season. But now he's done getting hit at a clip that is unheard of. Something you guys should know is he's been hit 62 times this year. It's the most in the NFL by a long shot. The only guy who's had 44 hits is your guy Cam Ward from the Tennessee Titans. So
That's Max's guy
that's
too.
a jump,
Yeah.
right? 62 down to 44 is the next closest.
That's a lot.
Getting hit. Here's another fact. Andrew Luck, he was hit a ton of times, shortened his career. Herbert's on pace to be hit more than Andrew Luck in his first 6 seasons. So you want to talk about confidence and getting guys who are going to protect you in this game. It's going to be huge.
My goodness.
Yeah.
I mean, right off the top of the dome, clearly this is a sore spot for Chargers fans. And I'm curious, there's a 3-0 start, I believe, 1 in 3 cents. What's kind of just the general fan vibe around those Bolts right now?
Low. The vibes are not good, guys. They weren't just 3-0 to begin the year, right? They were 3-0 against the AFC West.
Yeah.
And then barring some massive collapse, those vibes are going to go away. Well, 1 in 3 cents, right? All of a sudden, the Chargers are hurt. They are the team that they've kind of been recently, where the Chiefs started slow, and all of a sudden they're the Super Bowl favorites again, right? You know, there's the hope that the Chargers are going to push them for the AFC West crown. Well, the Chiefs are now the Chiefs again, and the Chargers are still fumbling, trying to protect their quarterback. It's just absolutely tough. We thought it was going to be a different year. It's just kind of seemingly more of the same.
Yeah. Well, you still are tied. You have the same record as the Chiefs, and you do own the tiebreaker because you beat them in Brazil. You're second in the AFC West. This is not a terrible. I know you're all doom and gloom. You're playing. You mentioned Cam Ward and the Titans. You play them next week.
True.
That's probably a win. So you win tonight, and you're favored tonight. And now all of a sudden you win tonight, and you win next week, and you're 6-3. So there's got to be a little bit more room for optimism there. I guess one of the reasons I would be optimistic about the Chargers, and the guy's my rival personally, but Jim Harbaugh is one of the best football minds in the entire country, not just the NFL, college, whatever. How do you feel about Harbaugh right now? You feeling good about him?
No, I feel great. There's something about his coaching style that he simplified things.
Yeah.
He's a big rah-rah guy, but he's not overly analytical or anything like that.
Yeah.
Post-game, when they win games, what they're talking about is giving each other high fives, right? They're singing, he's a jolly good fellow. They're doing these simple, basic things. And one of the first things he says, actually, he just looks at everyone and says, I'm proud of you. I'm so proud of you guys, right? Like, it's not nothing overly complicated, but it's just stuff. He's looking his guys in the eye and
That's
saying,
what Max says to me before every show.
Every show.
exactly.
Every
But it
show.
means
Not
a
necessarily
lot.
after every show, but before every show, for
But
sure.
but when it happens, it just means a lot. He means it, and there's something about that genuine level of care for his players that seems to be really creating the culture he wants. Now, the injuries kind of hurt that culture in their winning ways, but get some guys back, and let's just see if they can kind of get on the right train again.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I'm proud of you too.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm proud of you, lovely viewer out there. I'm proud of all of you out there. You've mentioned the offensive line. They're dealing with a bevy of injuries. Along the Vikings offensive line is certainly right in the hospital bed, right next to those LA Chargers. So I would imagine the Vikings defensive line is probably the thing that worries you most coming into this game, right?
Yeah, no, most definitely. Because, this is Brian Flores we're talking about. And, there's a lot of aggressive defenses in the league, but Brian Flores has made his name for sending exotic blitzes and just anything that he can throw at you, he's going to do that, right? And if the Chargers weren't getting back Joe Alt and right tackle Trey Pipkins tonight, I'd be a lot more worried. And Austin Deculus, the left tackle, the center, Bradley Bozeman, a lot of pressures pressures being let up, especially against the Colts this past Sunday. So if they weren't back, I'd be much more worried.
Michael, we didn't even get to this at the start. How did you become a big Chargers fan? You live here in Minneapolis. Like, this is such a freak sort of coincidence that's happening tonight. How did you get to this point here?
Yeah, absolutely. So born and raised Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and my father's from Northern California. And just in general, the Midwest teams, right? Vikings, Packers, Bears, NFC North, maybe the Chiefs as well. As a young kid, just didn't like the look of them. The aesthetic, something was off about
it.
It
matters when you're young, though.
Absolutely.
It does. It absolutely
when you don't
matters.
have a professional team in the state, you kind of pick what looks cool. And so it's 06, LT wins the MVP. He has the blacked out visor. And me being 10, 11 years old at the time just said, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
This is my team. And obviously I'm here 31 years old, still liking the Chargers through all the ups and a lot of the downs. So it's, a long time coming, but we're here.
I love it.
Speaking of LT, that looks like that ball right there is signed by one LaDainian Tomlinson, is it not?
Yeah, these guys wanted to see these. So this is LT up front, inscribed with his 36 touchdowns that season.
Wow.
36 is a lot of touchdowns.
That's so insane. Yeah. Like, you think it's like, when you were a kid, you don't fully comprehend. You just go, wow, that's a lot. But then as an adult, you're like, 36.
Well, having watched a lot of football,
touchdowns.
right?
Yeah,
touchdowns
it's never happened again. Yeah,
right. You're maybe hitting 20, and that's an incredible year.
Right.
36 touchdowns, right?
Unheard of.
Unheard of. I don't know how it would happen again.
Yeah. Do you ever, when you got that football, did you do the LT?
Absolutely
little?
not.
Yeah, you had to, right?
I'm not spending money on that and then flipping it. No, that's safely in its butt. Yeah.
What do you make of the Chargers dichotomy in Southern California? It's kind of an outcast sort of team. The people in San Diego are really upset that they left.
Yep.
The people in LA really don't claim the Chargers. It's a Rams town, and then also the Raiders are there. And even the 49ers, I know your dad's from NorCal, like they got a big presence there. The Cowboys, they might be the number 4 or 5 team in the Los Angeles market. They don't even own, they pay rent at SoFi Stadium on top of all of that. Like, what do you kind of make of the whole Charger dichotomy in LA?
I think it's a tough show.
Yeah.
To be a Chargers fan, I mean, you're going against the grain. To move to LA from San Diego, where they were loyal.
Yeah.
Qualcomm Stadium was a very old stadium. They had issues with it. They wanted to build a new one. Unfortunately, there's the taxpayer issue. Are that people want their money to go to a stadium or not? And ultimately, the owners of the Chargers made that move to LA, hoping for greener pastures. Now, I don't know when we're going to get there to that greener pasture. Again, this year looked like maybe we were going to take another step, starting 3-0 in the division, but then stuff happened, and we're back to just being what the Chargers have been. It's a tough look. I just say if you are a Chargers fan anywhere in the country, just stick through it and hope for the best.
Yeah.
Very reminiscent of Minnesota Vikings fans talk. Very reminiscent.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've always said the Vikings, specifically the Vikings, are the NFC's Chargers, or at least their kindred spirits. Because I don't know if you guys through the years, injuries, and for a while couldn't find a kicker.
Right.
The Chargers and Vikings,
God. Yeah.
it was a carousel. Right, and so I'd preview Vikings games in the past. Other Vikings fans I talked to, and it's the same thing. Everyone brings up these are like the same teams with the same problems. Right, and here we are again. Both these offensive lines were really good to begin the year. Will never play together because of injuries, or haven't yet up to this point. Right, just stuff like that.
Right, and a must-win game for pretty much both teams. Both teams are in a tight spot right now, and everybody knows the Justin Herberts of the world, the Keenan Allens, even the Lad McConkeys of the world. But there's always unsung heroes. Who do you think's like a guy that maybe Vikings fans don't know about, but Chargers fans are very familiar with and think could have an impact tonight?
One name I want to bring up, mainly because we haven't heard him enough, and he was a big part of that 3-0 start, is linebacker Deion Henley. Now, this is a third-year guy out of Nevada, former wide receiver turned linebacker in college. Wow. Super athletic, had a really good year last year, his first as a starter. Began this year truly on a all-pro pace. I mean, multiple picks, multiple sacks from the off-ball linebacker position, super athletic, about 6'3", 235, can run sideline to sideline. Now, he had an illness to begin the season as well, fought through a flu game to help beat the Chiefs. It was a big performance. Wow. It's just the last few weeks, we have not heard his name come up all that much. Now, it's not surprising that they're 1-3 through that stretch as well. Your best players have to show up, right? And Deion Henley is a guy that I would expect to have a big game tonight to kind of remind everybody, I'm still here.
Yeah. From a Vikings perspective, what do you make of the whole Vikings quarterback situation from your perspective on it all?
Yeah, that's tough because coaches need to win games, and you can't blame anyone, Kevin O'Connell or anyone on that side, for picking a quarterback they believe gives them the best chance to win. The thing is, General Manager Kwesi and KOC, their contracts are kind of tied to J.J. McCarthy. They're all in on picking him at 12th overall. So at some point, they do have to realize Carson Wentz, is he going to win you guys a Super Bowl? If the answer is no, there's almost no reason not to fly with J.J. McCarthy. Like, he's your guy. You have to figure out what you have in him. And he had a good, first game this season. Well, then injuries hit, and we just haven't seen him. if there's any plan going forward, if we can see what he can do, you have to put him out on that field. Otherwise, I'm not sure what the plan is long term.
Yeah. You got to rip that Band-Aid off. You know, it's like you always like play. You always
saying
like,
that, yeah.
and then it's like, it kind of hurts. I'm not ready for it. You just gotta, you just gotta rip it off and see what you got. I'm curious. What's your prediction for tonight?
For tonight, I think it's going to be suspenseful again. Most times when people ask me to describe how I think the Chargers game is going to go, it's always going to be suspenseful. These two teams, like you said, it's a must-win game for either one to kind of help turn their season around. I'm going to call it as a field goal game. Score-wise, defenses, at least the Chargers defense hasn't been that great. I'm going to go like 27, probably 27-24, something around those lines.
Yeah. Right on kind of the number. 3.5 is the spread. What do you got? What do you got tonight?
I was thinking a similar number, but I'm going to go, it's going to be a close game.
Yeah.
I'm going to go about 38.
Yeah.
To 2.
Oh.
Yeah, 38 to 2.
38
I think
to
it's
2
going to be
Vikings.
close. Yeah, Vikings. Yeah, I think it's going to be close though.
Yes. Michael, we loved having you in. I know we're supposed to re-air a segment at the end of this, but I feel like we didn't get enough Vikings perspective. We gotta hash this out. I think after this commercial.
Yeah,
break.
we gotta talk some more Vikings. I mean, there's always another day
Let's
as well. There's always another day, but we haven't talked enough Vikings.
Let's do that. Let's do that. Before we go to break, Michael, I do want to bring up one photo. This is from 8 years ago.
Yep.
I had the pleasure of seeing your squad. See, somebody gifted me. Let's put up that picture there, Paul. Look at that.
Yeah.
See, Max,
Right on the field.
I can rock the LT jersey, right?
And that's the cool LT jersey. That's a throwback,
Yeah,
right?
those
That's
are the
like
throwbacks.
the AFL anniversary.
Yeah.
How did they let you on the field? Do they not have security there? I know not a lot of fans show up to these games. Is there no security as well?
Good. Thank you to the people at MetLife. I had a nice little credential. Thank you to the Giants. That was a nice little
Of
gift
course.
they gave,
Wow.
so, yeah.
It's all coming together. Was there some? It was New York. It's L.A. Was a freaking Fighting Irish mascot there too? I mean, it's all of it. Were you eating, crisp and green while you're there too? You're hitting the Adam trifecta
Yes,
right now.
Absolutely. That was a fun memory. My friend Dan Azek there. That was great. And this was fun having you here, Michael Peterson, the editor of boltsfromtheblue.com. Everybody go check out that website. It's fantastic. The number one the number one Chargers fan in the state of Minnesota in Vikings territory. This is an unbelievable night for you. This is huge.
Yeah, absolutely. This is actually like the battle of my household. My wife's from Fridley. I mean, we ended up moving up here, putting roots down because of her.
Yeah.
So whenever these two teams play, it's a great time, but it's going to be dramatic in the household tonight.
I love it. I love it. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you guys.
More Vikings talk coming up after this commercial break.
Tell you what,
We are back here on the afternoon shift. We're looking forward to tonight's game. Vikings-Chargers, 7:15. Very exciting. Huge win. Huge game for both teams. Chargers 4-3, second in the AFC West. Vikings 3-3, last in the NFC North. We heard a lot of the Chargers talk from Mike earlier. Maxx, what's sort of the Vikings perspective, I guess, coming into tonight?
Well, obviously, all the talk has been about the QB position leading up to this game. Everybody's been wondering all week, kind of, is it Carson Wentz? Is it JJ? And then even after Carson Wentz was announced to be the starter, it's like, well, what does that mean about JJ? Is he ready to go? Is this a soft benching? What's going on behind the scenes with JJ McCarthy? But listen, like I kind of said it right after they lost on Sunday, right? You're going to see Carson Wentz for one more week at the bare minimum. And barring Carson Wentz going out there and having like some crazy Brett Favre 5 touchdowns, 500 yards type game, which is not going to happen. I'm not Chauncey Billups, but I would not bet the over on Carson Wentz yards tonight. That's probably not going to happen. Barring that, you're going to see J.J. McCarthy against the Detroit Lions next week. But I think it's more just about a consistency kind of thing. You know, you don't want to, because the QB room is so young overall, you don't necessarily want to give the keys to a guy like Maxx Brelsmer in his first start ever on a Thursday night football game. You know, I obviously was tongue-in-cheek joking earlier in the week saying, like, what does it say about Maxx Brelsmer? But I think it's more of an experience thing where Carson Wentz has more experience. And like you said, I'm sure the Vikings, you know, their staff, they do their due diligence. I'm sure that they're aware, and obviously the pass is the pass, but I'm sure that they're aware that Carson Wentz is 7-0 on Thursday night football. So why not trot him out there and give him a chance? Yeah, 7-0 on Thursday night football.
Yeah,
I know, right? It's kind of crazy. I was surprised just by the fact that he's played 7 Thursday night football games, that he's been healthy enough to play 7 Thursday night football games.
Yeah, we got into that at the top of the show today. Carson went 7-0 in his career on TNF, but the Vikings haven't won a road game on a Thursday, not necessarily Thursday night, so this could be Thanksgiving or whatever.
Right.
They haven't won a road game on a Thursday since 1978. That's 7 straight losses. So something's gotta give between those two tonight. Yeah.
And I'm curious to hear your perspective on this, because I've heard from people that work in the NFL that they kind of view sometimes going to Chargers games as a kind of a road home game. That not a lot of, especially a place like Minnesota where fans like to travel, particularly at this time of year. Why not go to LA? You can get the twofer. You can watch the Lakers play the Timberwolves tomorrow night as well. But a lot of teams view that trip to LA as kind of like a road home game almost.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of been the case for quite a few years. I mean, it was a big reason why. It wasn't the only reason, but they kind of pushed them from San Diego. I remember watching those old Qualcomm games, and there'd be a sea of green when the Eagles showed up. There'd be a sea of black for the Raiders, sea of whatever color that wasn't the Chargers. Now, I'll be totally honest. They've done a really good job in SoFi Stadium of getting fans in the building. I mean, it's been ruckus. It's been only as loud. I mean, so loud that their fans have to be there, right? Like, I mean, otherwise, like, away fans don't get that loud when you know they got up on the screen and they tell you to get loud and stuff like that. So they've done a really good job, and I just truly hope that continues. But I think you make a good point that if the Timberwolves are playing the Lakers, this might be a lot of purple. This might be a big purple night in SoFi.
Yes, yeah, purple and gold for the Vikings, of course.
Not purple and gold for the Lakers.
Yes,
You a Lakers fan, or you're a LA just sports guy through and through, all the way through?
No, I'm a Milwaukee Bucks fan.
He just hates Minnesota sports.
Anything but Minnesota sports.
I mean, by proxy, like I root for the Minnesota teams, of course.
Right.
I watched the Lynx all this season. Big
Yeah,
Lynx
they were
fan.
fantastic.
But no, Milwaukee Bucks, that's another long story, like kind of not unlike my Chargers one as well. I just kind of find my way to these teams that I don't think a lot of other people like. And so I think that's why I gravitate towards them. You know, if I'm the guy who, if you're going to zig, I'm going to zag, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I guess I'm curious about the going back to this Chargers and the Chiefs thing. The Chiefs have been turning it on recently, and you said, you know, like you said, they're the Super Bowl favorites now. You did beat them already in Brazil. From the chart, is that sort of are the Chiefs kind of like, is that like the boogeyman? Like you kind of see them, you know they're coming, you know they're on your back. Like how are you feeling about the Chiefs right now? Like you already beat these guys, and technically you're ahead of them in the standings, but you're already kind of like, you sound so defeated already when it comes to them.
Well, and the AFC West as a whole is just a bloodbath.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It's been years of watching Patrick Mahomes do what he does. And I've seen this movie every single time the Chargers play, right? They hadn't beat them since, I want to say, 22, something like that, before they won earlier this season. It doesn't matter how good they look to start the game. It doesn't matter how good they look coming into the game. The Chiefs are, in their own way, inevitable. So for them to start as slow as they really did, it gave me hope. But I'll tell you what, they started winning, and then when I started seeing power rankings across the media have the Chiefs at number 1 with a 3-3 record, I knew the fix was in, and we're going to be looking at another Chiefs run or something like that. Because I mean, when the Chargers were 3-0, we got nowhere near number one. But a 3-3 Chiefs team is so scary to the country that they think they're still the number one team, and forget the record, they're coming.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I'm on this Bolts from the Blue website. I got an article here from Mikhail Peterson.
I don't know that guy.
Mikhail Peterson. He's given his keys to the game, and he's talking about the bleeding, how to stop the bleeding.
The defensive
bleeding. On the
yeah.
defense, the Chargers have allowed 27, 27, and 38 points, respectively, in each of their last 3 games. What does the Chargers defense need to do to get it back on track today?
Honestly, just play up to their own standard. This was a team that last year they led the league in points allowed at like 17.3, something like that. And as you said, or what I wrote, 27, 27, 38 is just very outlandish for this Chargers team. Now, injuries have happened, but kind of mentioned Deion Henley, this linebacker, as far as guys who need to step up might be underrated, but just their stars need to play. And lately, through this 1-3 stretch they're on, guys like Derwin James, Tarheeb's still a young cornerback, Henley, their names aren't showing up, which usually means they're not making plays. Right. And if these guys aren't showing up, the chances of them winning are probably much lower, especially with the protection we've talked about around Justin Herbert. So they just need to step up and get back to their own standard. They started 3-0 in the AFC West. Now, the Broncos are number 1 at 5-2. The Chiefs are still up there. The Raiders, they're the Raiders. But like they started 3-0 against good teams for the most part and showed that they probably should have beat the Giants. They probably should have beat the Commanders. But mistakes, 14 penalties against the Giants, 10 penalties against the Commanders. They've got to find a way to turn it back on and kind of find their identity and get back to who they were, especially last year.
Yeah. Last week, it was kind of a rough week 7 for both teams last week. Kind of blown out at home by the Colts. Obviously, the Vikings didn't play up to snuff against the Eagles. What do you make of, just in general for the NFL, of kind of rebounding games? Because these are both 2 teams that are both looking to kind of rebound after kind of rougher weeks last week to get back in the win column there. How difficult is that, especially on a short rest? Both teams playing on Sunday coming into tonight.
I mean, it's absolutely tough because they only get one real practice.
That's
right. The 2 other injury reports they put out are estimations, and it's tough. I mean, in a must-win situation, you don't get a lot of on-field work, right? And so maybe you're not feeling as prepared. And these guys have been doing it for a long time, so you want to think it all comes natural. But again, these 2 teams, they have star power and X factors. Justin Herbert on the Chargers, Justin Jefferson on the Vikings. These are guys that you really want to put in the work to prepare for. And unfortunately, in a short week, you don't get that. So I'm not going to say they're running on vibes only, but like right now, they've got to figure it out fast. Both of them do, unfortunately. Someone had an idea.
Big Bolt. Turn
Bolt.
the lights on to let us know.
Bolt. Yes.
They said it's going to be electrifying tonight.
Yes. I think I was watching some of the news this morning. Is Christian Darrisaw, is he coming back tonight for the Vikings?
I think that there's some He's questionable
Okay.
to
Normally,
play.
probably going to play designation. Same thing with Joe Alt,
Yeah.
the other tackle. Yeah.
Now, Darrisaw, this is a big deal for the Vikings.
This is a huge deal. Brian O'Neill, also questionable. The Vikings offensive line has been dealing with injuries, much like the Los Angeles Chargers have been dealing with injuries all season long. And obviously, against whether they've been playing well lately or not, that Chargers defense is a talented group of guys, and you don't ever want to be down offensive linemen, but especially against a team like this Los Angeles Chargers, particularly Christian Darrisaw. We've seen it. Justin School, props to him, respect to him for trying. It ain't working out. It has been an absolute nightmare without Darrisaw in that starting lineup. So let's hope that he can get up to snuff and get in the game here.
I want to ask you this, Max. I know I asked Michael this earlier. I want to go back to the quarterback situation. So I get the plan and Wentz, and it's a short week and whatever. But so in theory, they're going to have a week and a half to prepare. You guys get the Titans next week. That's a gift.
Lucky.
Okay. All right. The Vikings got to play at the Lions next week. All right. Now, that's tough.
It's tough as it
Okay.
gets.
You just saw what the Lions did to Baker in the Bucs on Monday night. Aiden Hutchinson is coming. Is this really the welcome gift that you want to give J.J. McCarthy after all of this time off? Like, it just seems from an outsider perspective, it just seems it seems very strange. I'm curious, what's your
I think
perspective?
also at the same time, you look at the Vikings schedule, when is a good time to put them in.
It's a great
You know,
point.
because you're playing against
Ravens.
You're playing against a Ravens team that's probably going to have Lamar back, a Bears team that's won 4 straight, by the way. No slouches that you barely beat them, kind of.
Ahead of you in the schedule.
Right,
Standings,
outside of a nuts fourth quarter comeback in that opening season game, season opening game. So that's a formidable team. And then you got the Green Bay Packers. You got the Seattle Seahawks, the Washington Commanders, even the Dallas Cowboys, who Dak Prescott's been playing pretty damn good lately. Even the New York Giants, Jackson Dart, games that you
beat
thought
the Chargers,
exactly games that when you looked at the schedule at the beginning of the season, you go, okay, maybe the Bears, maybe the Giants. But now I believe we looked at it. I don't know if they're favored in any of these games as of right now. Now, obviously, things remain to be changed. There could be injuries, all types of stuff. So there isn't really a good slot to put JJ in to give him a nice little runway. And also, sometimes you just gotta throw people in the fire. This is not just any Detroit Lions. This is your NFC North rival Detroit Lions that you're going to be playing twice a year. So you gotta see him against them at some point. You gotta see him against the Packers at some point. So I mean, you might as well just throw him to the fire and see what you got. Because if he can come out and be unscathed, then you feel more confident about your guy. And then also kind of you got the double-edged sword of being like, well, it was the Lions. Maybe he'll do better next week.
Exactly.
It was the Lions, so it doesn't do too much to the ego as well. So I actually don't think it's too bad of a game, and he'll have a full week of practice to ramp up to it as well.
Tell Michael your prediction about your guy Max. There's no bigger Max Brosmer homer in the whole country than Max Fuller.
I'm a Max Brosmer truther. I'm Max Frosmer. He's Max Brosmer.
Sure, that's right. Yes.
But I think there's a chance he gets in the game tonight. I think there's a chance he gets in the game tonight.
You ready for Max Brosmer?
Maybe lights it up. Yes. Former Golden Gopher Max Brosmer. I know Chargers fans are just quaking in their boots, hoping that Max Brosmer doesn't get in the game.
Actually, this is a great point. You went to the University of Iowa, didn't you? Oh, we got how about this? Right? Just a little game this weekend between you two, right? This is big this weekend.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about Iowa football? They're playing against the Gophers this weekend. Hosting them, CBS, Game of the Week.
That is this weekend.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, I feel pretty good. I'm actually still surprised we beat Penn State, and I know they're kind of tumbling. But Mark Gronowski, I don't know if you've been watching this quarterback, that we signed from South Dakota State, ended his career there. But he could do better throwing the football, but he's running the ball very, very well. I think he's like 1 touchdown off the rushing touchdown record for quarterbacks in franchise or program history.
Wow.
I mean, he's doing well enough to win these games, right? We've always had a good defense. We've just needed, can you throw the forward pass? And usually that helps us, right?
Right.
But like Ricky Stanzi and CJ Beathard and these guys aren't walking through the door any sort of year recently. So I feel good about it. I don't know how you're feeling though.
For sure, it's a scrap. I was saying this earlier in the week. It's a scrappy Hawkeyes team that, like you said, for the last 10 years, they've basically been playing like 1950s Leatherhead type football, barely scoring any points, and then they're going from now. I'm seeing 37, 38, 25. They're putting points on the board, which is something this Golden Gophers team has not always been able to do. But they're a little bit more reliant on that defense. So hopefully the defense can shine and that secondary can get a little bit healthier, because I know they were down a lot of guys last week.
I was favored in that game by 7.5 points.
7.5.
I don't know about that one.
That's a big number.
Disrespect to a team that just knocked off a top 25 ranked team. Granted, they were 25.
Is it a real 25 team though?
Hey, the number was right there. The 2 and the 5 were right there. It's as real as it gets.
And it was real. It was great. I'm not
dominated.
I'm not the fun police. It was a great field storming. Michael Peterson, again, editor from boltsfromtheblue.com. We can't wait for tonight. Michael, thank you so much for sticking with us. This was great. We appreciate you.
Yeah, it's been a blast, guys. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks. More to come from the afternoon shift after this. Welcome back to the afternoon shift. Max, it's been a packed show. You know the only thing we've been missing this show?
What's that?
Paul Milgate. I don't know if we've
Paul.
seen him.
Yeah,
Paul,
what's
what's
up,
going
Paul?
on? How are you?
His mic is not working.
His mic is not working.
Your
Yes.
mic, the old mic is not working trick. I see you, Paul. He's in victory formation. We only got a couple more minutes to go. Paul's like, yeah, I'm good.
It has been a great show. We've
Everything
had a lot of
from
different
the
things.
mafia to mastectomies.
Yes, the mafia to mastectomies to I'm trying to come up with from Ian Leonard to Joe. I'm trying to think of a Chargers thing now.
Yeah.
From Ian Leonard to Los Angeles.
There we go. Leonard to LA,
Leonard to
baby.
LA,
Let's
yes,
go.
Yes, yeah. We got
Blizzards to bolts.
Blizzards to bolts. We got to bet in. What exactly was that bet again for the people? What was it again?
You bet because you're an LA guy.
Yes.
In case the audience didn't know, in case you just started tuning in 30 seconds ago, you're an LA guy.
Yes.
Ian's rooting he's a Canada guy. He's rooting for the Toronto Blue Jays in the World Series, set to start tomorrow on Fox 9, I believe.
Fox,
We'll probably talk about it tomorrow. We got to talk about it tomorrow.
Yes.
And you're rooting for the Dodgers, naturally. So we bet that if the Toronto Blue Jays, my suggestion, by the way, if the Toronto Blue Jays beat the Los Angeles Dodgers, as improbable, not impossible, as improbable as it seems right now, considering the prolificness of the Los Angeles Dodgers this postseason. If the Toronto Blue Jays do that, complete the upset, you will be on the news.
Yes.
Given the weather.
Okay.
You will be at the big board doing your greatest Ian impression, and you got to cosplay as Ian too.
Yes, he's got a suit for me.
Right, you can't just show up with your.
Yeah,
he's back.
there he is.
He's coming back.
He's
back.
I have my earpiece. I'm in the studio, and you guys are like, blah, 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 blah. You'll be great. Come on, Blue Jays.
Let's go, Blue Jays. Let's go,
make it
Blue
up.
Jays.
Can't make it up. Can't make it up.
That's how real the bet is.
That was
Ian's always listening.
Yes.
He's always
So
ready
what
to
happens?
Go.
What happens if the Doyers win?
I guess we didn't establish that.
Yeah.
Maybe Ian has to come in and host the afternoon shift one day.
Can I get it off?
Maybe you get that day off. That seems pretty nice. I mean, hell, can I be in on this bet too? How do I get in on this bet? That seems like a win-win for you. You either get to get some FaceTime on the news or get the day off. But
don't worry, there's a day off coming up soon, and this series will be over before the day off.
Wow.
It'll be a natural end.
Confidence from Adam Llorens. And you know what? I'm confident. At least I'm pretty confident that we'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. I'm Max Fuller.
Adam Llorens.
Signing off for Paul Milgate and Grace Henry. The 5 o'clock news starts now.
This is Fox 9 News at 5.
And hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us here at 5 o'clock. I'm Kelsey Carlson.
And I'm Simone Woolbridge. There's a lot to get to tonight. The last Annunciation shooting victim who remained in the hospital was released today. And there was quite the crowd to celebrate Sophia Forchas in her miraculous recovery. You have to see this. It's such a beautiful story. And we are getting a better idea of where the Green Line extension stands. Our Rob Olson has the latest on the train testing progress. Also, some business owners who got their marijuana retail licenses are now selling them, but for a lot of money. So our Corn Hoggard is digging into this story for us. Plus, of course, it is Thursday night football right here on Fox 9, and the Vikings are facing the Chargers in LA. Our Ahmad Hicks is there for us, so he'll join us live, and we'll check in with him in just a few minutes.
Yeah, we have a packed hour here.